Let's have a look. What do we get?
Well, that's an interesting rare for sure.
So, yeah. Let's take a look at Traxos Scourge of Krug. What does he do? Tap and doesn't untap unless you cast a historic spell. 4477 seems okay. You pretty much have to build a deck around this guy, huh?
Yep.
Feels hard to do that and construct it, or in a draft rather.
If you pick him like pack 1, then it's obviously easier than if you were to open him later.
Sure.
But it's always a bit of a gamble.
Also feels kind of like you're not really gonna know till about halfway through the draft if you got enough. And is he strong enough as a 7/7 for 4 to win games all on his own with only one copy in your deck? Feels a
Sort
little.
of. There's also the Voltaic Servant that combos with him, since he can untap an artifact at the end of turn. So you just need one Voltaic Servant to keep on tapping him. But it's still a bit of a gamble still.
So other cards to consider, I suppose, are Cast Down as fairly good removal, although there's actually a fair number of legendaries in this format. So a lot of times when you want your removal for the bombs, and this will not remove a lot of their bombs.
True.
Blessed Light as fairly slow removal, but very good at the exile is actually very relevant in this set. There's a fair number of indestructibles, etc. Vicious Offering as a very quick set of removal that has some flexibility, which is a good one. All of those would be things I'd consider. I guess I could be considering Drake and Fiery Intervention, but they seem like a tier below the other stuff to me.
Yeah, the pack is definitely very strong. Like a ton of removal in almost every color. And pretty decent rare, but it is always going to be a bit of a gamble. And you could end up with a great Traxos deck and he's going to win you some games, or you might not get there and then you're going to regret taking him.
Okay.
So this one's definitely tricky.
What would you pick? So let's have two decision points here, right? The first is being, let's assume for a second we're not taking Traxos. What would be your pick if he's off the board?
I would lean towards Cast Down, even though, as you've explained, it does miss some of the powerful legendaries, but it's still efficient enough and just powerful enough that it's worth taking, I think, over the more expensive but kind of more broad answers.
Okay. I think that would probably be my pick out of these. So let's put Traxxas back on the table. You want to risk it? I would like a consistent performance from this deck, ideally, because I'm low on gems.
I don't think Traxos really embodies consistency.
Okay. So I think it's a cast down pick then, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, number 2. Oh, this pack seems a lot worse. So I don't like this guy. I've been told he's decent, but I haven't found a lot of use for him. 1/3 is fine, I think, in this format. There's a fair number of 2 toughness creatures and a lot of tokens, so that's okay as a 1/3 blue blocker, but I don't think his special effect is all that useful. I rarely get value out of that. I guess if it's pick 2, we could try to build some value out of it, but it seems hard to do.
You kind of need to build around him to really make him shine.
Yeah. The rare's gone in this pack, whatever it was. I see Blessed Light as really the only, maybe the Shepherd, and maybe Spore Swarm as the kind of most interesting cards in the pack to me. The highest power cards, I guess, is what I should be saying. Chronicler's decent as well, but I don't know that it's worth picking yet. We don't have any. I guess we have the Cast Down synergy. I've had some really nice red-black decks in this format. What'd you pick? I think I'd go for Blessed Light, but I could be talked into the green creature or the Chronicler or the Spore Swarm.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards the Blessed Light as well, just as the most rawly powerful card. I'm also a fan of Gitu Chronicler. I often end up in red-black just because it's like all the removal and all the grindy elements in one deck.
Yeah, I like that. I like that setup too. Although white's pretty decent, I feel like. I actually feel like all the colors are decent in this format.
Yeah, the colors are pretty balanced.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll get behind Blessed Light.
You could easily take one of the green cards too and move into Saprolinks maybe, but I think Blessed Light is a bit of a safer pick in general.
Yeah. So, pretty nice one there. I don't think we can run Urza's Ruinous Blast with no legendaries yet. Maybe we'll get extraordinarily lucky and pick up pick 4 legendaries from now on. I'd pick the Triumph here and be fine with it. I like the card.
Yeah, I think the legendary sorceries are usually not very good. Like, if you already have, let's say, 5-6 legendaries and you open it in the 3rd pack, then sure, you'll take it, but I don't think you want to be taking it early.
Yeah. I have lost games to this stupid fucking card.
Like, yeah, definitely one of those feel bads.
Yeah, it's such a feel bad. All right. So anything that sticks out ahead of Triumph? Probably not. I mean, this is in our
I'm not
color.
actually I'm not actually a huge fan of Triumph of Gerard, if I'm
Really?
being honest. Yeah, it's pretty close to like an aura in terms of going all in on one creature,
Hmm.
which I'm usually not a fan of. But the rest of the pack is also pretty empty. There's not a ton of great stuff here.
I don't like this card. I almost never get value out of it. It trades down. There's a lot of two power creatures in this format. Discarding cards out of hand seems really hard as well in this format. It's not a lot of card draw effects to get them back, so it's really awkward to utilize. I don't. The Paladin I've seen it do okay damage, but again, two toughness is pretty weak in this format.
Indeed.
So I don't see a lot else. I guess you could talk to me. I hate this card. I've seen people play it against me, but I
Yeah,
every
Compass is bad.
yeah, right. So okay, so what is the only other remaining card that's
I think
halfway decent? The
the
candle.
candle is defensible as like another removal spell, but I guess we could make the argument that we already have two removal spells, so what are the odds that we'll need a candle? Or you
Yeah,
could just speculate on, I don't know, syncopate in case we end up blue. But
I think
yeah,
I'd
this pack is
rather the
pretty bad.
Triumph, and we might not end up playing it, but I think
Yeah,
I don't like candles removal particularly, especially when we already have slow removal. And syncopate's decent, but I don't have any reason to think we're in blue yet.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
second one of those dudes.
Oh,
Trapper's okay and aggressive. Vicious Offering's a very solid little removal spell. Short Sword I quite like. I think it gets a lot of value in draft. Adamant Will is probably the best of the combat tricks in this format, in my opinion. And the Trapper is really good in little aggressive decks. I would take Offering here, personally, but I
Yep.
could be talked into something else.
No, I would take the offering as well.
Okay. Dub, Invoke the Divine, and the Windgrace Acolyte. It's funny, this card, when you look at it, you don't think it's that bad. Like it's 5 for 3/2 flyer, it's whatever. It heals you for 3 when it comes in is pretty useful. Evasive creatures are really good, I think, in this format in particular, but in general as well. But it feels like the type of deck you're playing matters here. If you're playing a deck with like a fairly mediocre deck with some bombs in it, like I have lost games to this card. And if like because it basically assumes, right? You're supposed to assume when you're looking at effects that mess with your deck that all cards are evenly distributed across it and roughly equal in value, right? But
Uh huh.
your cards aren't equal in value when you're playing them. So I don't know. I kind of want to hear your take on this of this card. What do you think of the milling effect of it?
Usually, self milling is an advantage if you have any sort of graveyard recursion, graveyard synergies. If your deck is like super slow and grindy and you expect to need every card in your deck, then the self mill could come back to hurt you if you don't have any graveyard recursion, if you happen to mill your best cards. But usually you shouldn't really look at self milling as a drawback.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess they price it like it's an advantage. It doesn't discount the card. It makes the card more expensive. There's also a dub. There's an Invoke the Divine. There is sideboarding. This is a pretty good sideboard card.
Indeed.
I would probably take the Acolyte, but I could be talked into the Invoke the Divine.
Yeah, I think I would take the Acolyte just because we don't have any creatures yet, and
Okay.
otherwise the Triumph of Jar is going to be pretty sad.
Well, if I have to triumph my play 5, I'm going to be pretty sad anyways. Um,
Yeah.
all right, Sparring Construct or Sentry. Sentry is a 3/2 flyer for 4. It's like a better Acolyte, except it doesn't heal you. Um, that's what I would take, but I could be talked into the combat trick, although again, creatures. This is starting to be like, looks
Yeah.
like maybe our win condition is beat them down with flyers.
Sentry's pretty decent. I would take it over the Adamant Will.
I like Sparring Construct too if I have an aggressive enough deck. It's annoying.
Yeah. I rarely end up playing sparring constructs.
Okay. All right. The Feral Abomination, which I always want to call the Fetal Abomination internally. um, and then with Tragic Poet, Excavation Elephant, and the Guardian. I don't love any of these. I guess 4/4s are decent. So 5 for 4/4s, whatever. 3/5 is also kind of decent if we have no artifact synergy with it. I'd take the Abomination as just like a late game big dude for us, but
Yeah, they're all medium indeed, but the Abomination, like as a one-off, is usually fine as a curve topper.
okay. I'd take the Omnivore. There's our servant that we would have loved.
Yeah, with Traxos would have
Yeah.
been nice.
What do you think? Is Traxxas coming back around? Next.
Highly doubt it.
Okay. It is a
So
1/3 for 2, which isn't even bad. But I think this card's nuts. Maybe not nuts with black white, nuts with black green.
yeah, in black-white Omnivore's not gonna shine, but it can still be okay. And in black and white, you have a lot of 2-mana 2/2s and other 2-drops that you can end up with. So I don't think we need to take Voltaic Servant highly just because it's a 2-drop.
Okay, then I would probably take Omnivore. It doesn't
Yep.
often, it often just screws up your opponent's ability to predict how their trades are going to work out. So, all
Yeah.
right, take an Omnivore. Yeah, I think this was the first pack then. This one here, right?
Yep. Pack 9. So
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
is
I
it
would
8?
take
Okay.
the Memorial here, I think.
Do you like
Just
this
as
card? I guess we just had picked up an Omnivore. I don't really like this card. I
I
think their
mean, I
red
think
one's
all the
worse.
memorials except for the red one are very good since it's kind of like having a spell that's also a land. So if you flood out, you get to use it. And enter the battlefield tapped part usually doesn't mess too badly with how you can curve out.
Yeah.
And the paladin's pretty mediocre, as you've said earlier.
Yeah. I can get behind it. Don't want any of these cards. I would take Rat Colony over Charge, but I'd be pretty salty about either. Should we take the Coldwater Snapper in case we end up with like a couple
Yeah,
dubs?
that's what I was looking at.
Okay. I'm going to do that. I'm happy with that pick. Paladins in our colors. I don't see playing any of these.
Yeah. Sometimes you end up with enough historic spells where paladin's actually decent, but that's usually not the default.
2/2 is fine.
Yep.
We'll grab the blue. Probably not playing that. I'll grab Demonic Vigor, but I'm probably not playing that. It's okay.
Nah.
All right. What do we have here? What does settle the score? Exile target creature. Oh, that's a good one. It's just
Like
4 for an
an
exile.
eviscerate that exiles, but it's a bit more hard to cast.
Yep. There's also Voltaic Servant. There's also the Surveyor. There's also the Disciple. I hate this card. How do you feel about it?
It's very kind of it goes in like one deck, but even in that deck it's not very good, so
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
You like the Golem? I like the Golem.
Golem's okay, yeah. Especially if your deck has a very good late game where you think that drawing cards for both players benefits you since your late game's better, then the Golem gets better.
So I guess I would be looking between Settle the Score. Settle the Score seems above, head and shoulders above anything else on this pick to me. But the other ones that come
Indeed.
up are the Golem, the Soul Salvage, and maybe the Surveyor, but not for this deck, I don't think. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Surveyor is always a 2-for-1 basically, so a Surveyor is always fine, but better if it helps you fix your mana, for example. But yeah, here it's an easy settle the score.
All right. So we need some way to kill them now.
Yep.
We've got a lot of removal, but not a lot to do past that. Do you think Drudge Sentinel is the way to kill them? Because I'm a bit worried it isn't.
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So 3/1 seems really shitty in this format. Invoke the Divine as a sideboard card. These are combat tricks. A 2/2. I don't like any of these cards. I don't know what I'd pick here. I think
I would
Valdek is
probably
good.
just go for the sideboard invoke here.
I'm fine with that idea. Okay. Lingering Phantom as a fairly valuable, like value heavy card, I guess. Slow. We don't have any one. One way to bring that back right now doesn't seem particularly good for us, and a 5/4 for 6 is pretty slow. This looks like a Sentry pick to me.
Yeah, we'll take a sentry and be pretty happy about it, I think.
Happy? I'm not super happy with 3/2 flyers, and I'm a bit worried about early game. All right, what do we show up here? Corsair is nice. There's a green bomb. Some more of these red-green. There's a couple red-green of these guys that are all fairly interesting, but not for us, clearly at this point. So it's Corsair.
Yep, pretty easy Corsair, I think. Soul
Yeah.
Salvage also would make the deck, but we just need more creatures, and Pegasus is a decent one, even though our deck is not looking super aggressive.
Yeah. Could be a late game win condition too. So another big green dude, and a bunch of stuff not in our colors. We've got a Divest. I don't think that's terrible. I think the creature part of that makes that okay. I think the Wanderer is okay, but we already kind of have a curved topper, and our deck's looking pretty slow already. I don't like any of these cards for our deck.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Divest. I don't think that card's very good. Just too many situations where you draw it late and it doesn't do anything. Bardic Wanderer is like a mediocre 6-drop, but we might just need an extra win condition given all the removal we already have.
Okay. I think
So
this
I might
is
just take that here.
pick I would take too, because I don't see anything else that's relevant for our deck. The Sergeant at Arms, who's like really what we need. This is a 3-drop. that also potentially does something if we draw it late. Seems really good for our deck.
Yeah, seems better than the Honor Guard here.
Okay. Don't want these cards.
Nope.
Turtle again, but we already have big
Yeah.
toppers. We
I
take a
think
blessing.
if we do end up with a way to fix for blue, I would rather have Snapper than Feral Abomination and Partick Wanderer.
Okay.
So I might just take the Snapper just in case.
Sure. Another Acolyte. Our deck's getting really slow though. Although a healing when you're really slow is okay. Shield's also a card. I really like this card. I think this card is underrated. I think it does a lot of work.
Yeah, it depends. Like, I'm not usually a fan of the Shield of the Realm, just because a lot of removal kind of ignores it. It's only the red-based removal that it dodges, and as far as like creature combat is concerned, sure, it might like save your creature, but it doesn't help you kill the opponent's creatures necessarily.
I like
'Cause
throwing it
doesn't boost
on.
current
A lot of
attacks.
times you can do it like throw it on a big dude and they can't gang block it anymore because it's each creature. So you can attack into stalled boards that you can't
that's
without
true.
Shield of the Realm. I'd probably Windgrace here, but I'm
Yeah.
getting really worried about our curve.
I think Windgrace is fine. Now we have like 4 3-power flyers, so that's nice.
Soul Salvage or Dub? I'd say Dub for our flyers. Impossible Cold Water Snapper late game.
I think we have some good Soul Salvage synergy now with double Windgrace Acolyte.
It's fair too.
Given that we might be light on win conditions, it's a way to get them back. So feels like Soul Salvage is going to be okay in our deck.
Okay.
And if we have to wait until we have to deploy a flyer before we dub, then we're exposing ourselves to a lot of bad things.
I'm taking the 2/2.
Yeah.
Not super excited about it, but it's another early game creature.
Yep.
I'm taking the Dub over the Homerid. I am taking the Rampaging Cyclops because I like its art.
Good argument.
And Tragic Poet. I don't think we're playing it. Okay, this is our last. Oh man, what a shitty another shitty rare. So we gotta settle the score again, I guess.
Yeah,
I think
mean,
it's basically the same question.
nothing else.
Howling Golem settle the score and nothing else.
Yeah.
All right.
We just settle score here.
Yeah. It's a good removal spell. I guess I can't be too salty, but I'm a little salty.
Yeah, I mean, our deck is a lot of quality removal spells. So one thing I'm a little bit concerned when you have all these great removal spells is you want to make sure that you have some good like early blockers so that you don't end up wasting your quality removal spells on the opponent's 2-mana 2/2s, for example.
Yep.
So picking up some cards like Sergeant at Arms, for example, is actually not that bad when we have to settle a score, cast down.
I think Sergeant Arms is an excellent pick here. We don't have anywhere near enough 3-drops yet. We have a couple 2s, so and we have lots of late game. So I like Call the Cav. I think it's a good card. But I think Sergeant Arms is much better. I could be talked into we'll take Serve It, but I think we have some 2s and I'd rather a 2/3 than a 1/3 for this.
I think Vicious Offering also deserves some consideration here.
You'd pick up another removal?
Okay, removal spell. But of course, there's a bit of diminishing returns here once we have too many removal spells.
Yeah.
Since, as I've said, you might end up having to use them on pretty bad creatures.
That's actually a very interesting choice here. So, like, if this were pack 1, I'd Vicious Offering over Sergeant Arms every single time.
Yeah.
But I'm not so sure here.
If this is pack 1, then you would be taking Wizard's Lightning probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, given that we're already black-white, I think, yeah, if this is an early pick, it's Vicious Offering pretty easily. But I think it's not obvious if it should be Sergeant, All the Cavalry, or Vicious Offering. That's really where we have to look at the cards we already have. So as far as 3-drops, I mean, a Dub and Soul Salvage aren't really 3-drops, so we have very few. And at 4, we already have a lot of action. So between the Sergeant and the Call, I would lean towards the Sergeant. But then I'm not sure if we should Vicious Offering over Sergeant or still stick with the Sergeant.
Call's not on my radar with the deck we have right now. Sergeant is very much on my radar, and the Vicious Offering is somewhat on my radar. I don't know between those two. The 2/3 seems really hard to be like upset about, but man, this is pretty premium as an instant with a lot of flexibility.
I think we can afford to take Vicious Offering, and there's even a chance we wheel the Sergeant or
All
find
right.
another replaceable 3 mana 2/3 in future packs.
Uh, the Sphinx here is the most interesting pick to me. We're already considering
Yep,
splashing
but
blue.
the issue is we don't have any fixing yet. And at this point, yeah, we don't want to pick up cards like Compass to fix our mana, and the chances of getting a Skittering Surveyor are diminishing by the pack.
I don't think we'll be getting any
And there's
mana
not a
fixing.
ton of other fixing, yeah. So taking Sphinx, while it would be nice in theory, might just be a wasted pick here.
Are you thinking we're not playing these Coldwater Snappers then? You're thinking we're
Yeah,
gonna.
probably not.
So you would have looked fixing for that as opposed to the quality of the creatures. I played Sphinx pretty regularly in 3 colors, and found that by 5 you're often hitting that. Especially if you don't have a lot of double other ones. But we do have some double black that we'd like to be able to
Yeah,
play.
we do have 2 Settlers cores, which makes me a bit doubtful that we can pull off just playing blue with no fixing.
Okay, so what would you pick here then?
I think now I'm probably leaning towards a call, just to have a few more bodies on the ground. Even though we already have a decent number of 4s, but that's probably going to be our last one. Might even be better than the Omnivore in our deck, honestly.
Well, I certainly don't like the Evangel or the Soul Salvage right now. I don't think Triumph has a lot of synergy with their deck. Their deck doesn't look very aggressive, and I don't want the Knight of Benalia. So I guess for me, if I were looking at this, it would be between the Sphinx and the Call Cav. This is a really amazing card. It's crazy that it's still here. I guess this is pretty early. It's funny. I would pick Sphinx here every single time. Just go blue. I'll pick the Cav because the whole point of having other people around is to listen to and evaluate their opinions and see how they play out. So I'll do
Yeah,
that.
we might regret not taking the Sphinx if we open like a Skittering Surveyor in the next pack. But otherwise, I think Call's a safer pick.
This is a premium 3. I think probably better than the Sergeant.
I think so too, yeah.
So I'd pick
And
that
we
up.
already have 1 Sergeant for the kicker in the late game.
Yep, and we need the 3s.
Yep.
So grab that. Be happy about it. Neat card. This looks pretty bad for us.
Yeah, there's nothing here that we want. We already have a dub on a Paladin, and I doubt we'll play them, so
Yep.
might as well hate draft, but it's not gonna matter here.
Hate draft the fungal plots. You don't like Demonic Vigor?
Nah, I don't think I've ever played that card, and every time my opponents played it, it was pretty bad.
Yeah. Alright, I'll take the dub. I've played a couple Knighted Turtle decks and had a lot of fun with them.
Yeah, I definitely lost to those types of decks, like Arcane Flight on Coldwater Snapper is a real thing.
Yep. Sarah's wings on them too. It's fun as hell. I don't see any cards in here. I'll take the Divest, but I don't think we'd play it. Take the 3/1.
Yeah, there's a small chance we would like board and divest against the deck with Coldwater Snappers as an answer to those. I think that's more likely than we would want Knight of New Benalia.
I don't know. If we played a really aggressive deck, wouldn't you want to just get more 2s and 3s on the board? And that feels like
Don't
something
we already
more
have a
likely to
decent
happen.
number of 2s? Like we have 2 Cabal Evangels. Do we have more in the sideboard?
I don't think we have more on the sideboard. Do we have more on the sideboard that I don't know about?
I guess not. Yeah, so here I think I'm basically thinking if we do end up playing against the Coldwater Snapper combo deck, would we want a Divest to be able to board in to grab a Snapper on turn 5? Or would we rather want Knight of New Benalia as a cheap blocker against an aggro deck?
Yeah, I feel like I've seen a lot of aggro.
Yeah, taking Knight is defensible then.
Okay.
And a Knight does go with Pegasus as well, as someone pointed out.
So Moral of
But I
Folly
don't think we'll
seems
be main decking it.
pretty valuable here.
Yeah, Memorial's great.
Okay, I think better than Shield of the Realm.
Yeah,
Just
and if you have a Memorial, the value of a card like Soul Salvage goes down a little bit, since then you already have a similar effect, so you can afford to play an extra card instead of the Soul Salvage sometimes.
Cool. I'm getting a little worried. Oh well. Tragic Poet versus Compass. You want the Compass in case we decide we want to go fixing at the last minute.
Yeah, might as well. Don't think we'll need 2 poets.
I don't think so either. At the
And now we can take the sideboard Divest for the turtle deck.
Yep. I don't want any of these cards. You want Fiery of Intervention for fixing?
I don't know. Probably
Yeah.
doesn't matter too much. Don't think we'll need a charge.
Well, I don't think we'll need any of these cards. Take the one in color in case we ever use this.
Well, there's our 2-drop if we want it.
Take it over to second soul salvage. I think I would too.
Yeah, I think so. Given that we have Memorial, I don't see ourselves wanting to soul salvage and Memorial.
Yep.
Well,
2 divest for the
And all the
turtles.
divest.
Let's hope we run into turtle play, and that we get it in a timely manner. Wow, we kind of barely made it in with playables.
I think we're fine.
What do you predict? Okay, well, let's craft the deck, I guess, before I ask for predictions.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're probably not playing Cold Waters.
Nope.
Which puts us at 40 right now. Are we happy with the 40 we have? Got a fair amount of removal. The Triumph in there. We have some play with, let's take a look at the creature layout. Creature layout's 12 creatures. I'm not happy with creature
We're pretty
layout.
creature light. I don't like Triumph if we only have 12 creatures.
Yeah.
So I might just play the Knight of New Benalia.
Would you
just
play
as
a
filler
3-1
card.
over a 2-2? I think I'd play a 2-2 over a 3-1.
So it's definitely an interesting choice. The Knight of New Benalia has a bit of upside with Pegasus Courser. And we also have 2 dubs in there that we probably don't want to end up playing both of them. So if we do, let's say, play 1 dub, then Knight of New Benalia also seems better with it.
Okay, get behind that. I'll offer one more argument for the Kabbalist, which is our mana curve. We can curve a little bit more heavy towards black if all of our early game is also black.
That's true. That's true. Valid argument for sure.
All right, so we have a shit ton of removal and like no creatures. The dubs are questionable right now.
Yeah, I don't think we can play both.
Well, we're actually minus a playable card right now.
Yeah, so now we would maybe want either a main deck Invoke the Divine, which is sometimes okay, or we could just play a 2-mana 2/2, which is not great but fine.
Okay. 13 creatures. You want another creature?
But Call the Cavalry also counts as a creature and doesn't show up
That's
as
true.
a creature.
That's true. So
So
14
we're actually
creatures
at
right
14.
now. Yeah. So it's Dub versus Invoke the Divine versus Evangel, huh? God, they're also promising. I thought this draft was mostly about drafting bombs.
Sort of. We actually didn't end up seeing a lot of those random expensive cards. Like we picked up Feral Abomination and Partic Wonder, but didn't see many others.
Yeah. So what are we looking for Invoke the Divine? What are the threats that we're nuking with this? Random artifact creatures, some of the equipment maybe.
Indeed.
Maybe a
and
Sarah's
some of
Wings.
the enchantments you could like block and then blow up the enchantment and get a profitable block.
We can kill sagas with it too?
Yep.
All
It
right.
does come up.
All right. So we're playing Invoke the Divine over the Kabbalists. I don't think the Kabbalists are good enough to play 3 of them. I think we're going to be very
I
sad.
don't think so either. So the plan with this deck is going to be to try and trade our bad creatures with their bad creatures and then keep our removal spells to answer their bombs, and then hopefully one of our creatures gets to stick.
I'm a bit worried how we hold down the ground as we kill them with flyers because we don't have
Yeah,
creatures
we
that
have,
are
like,
particularly good.
Sergeant and Call the Cavalry.
Yeah. And removal.
So yeah, we definitely would have liked to have a few extra ground creatures.
We do have the option right now of trying to go dub turtles for win conditions.
Yeah, seems a bit sketchy to me, but
Yeah, it does to me as well.
I guess it could be a valid sideboard strategy against some decks. If you think that they can't beat a Cold Water Snapper, then that might be an okay way to go.
How do you feel about 10-7?
Could you pull up the stats real quick? Yeah, it seems okay. It's either 10-7 or 9-8, but we do have those two
Double
settle
blacks.
score.
Yeah.
So I'm probably leaning towards 10-7, but
We only have three threes and 2 of them are white.
we also didn't end up seeing any dark bargains, which is kind of interesting. That's usually a card you see pretty late
No skin
to
witches
draw some
either.
extra cards.
Which would have been really
Skin
nice.
Witch, yep. Yeah.
I know I don't like this deck again, but this is how my decks of in Dominaria have been turning out. Is like this, where I'm like, I don't like my deck, and I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna do anything with this deck.
I mean, to be honest, we do have some decent removal. We have double Vicious Offering, double Saddle, Cast Down, Blessed Light.
Yeah.
There's a lot of decks that like maybe end up with one or two of those.
Yeah. Although I almost feel like we have too much slow removal right now. We'll see. Okay, so we'll try this. Let's get a game in. You said you need to go,
Yep.
or you want to watch a couple of
I
games?
could probably join you for one match,
Okay.
and then I'll probably go.
All right. Call this one legendary. For you. And
Didn't end up with any legendaries though.
no, I know. No, it's definitely
Would've-
tongue in cheek.
Definitely would have liked an Arvad.
Yeah, something in here would have been